Hello, I'm a gust of wind. This is Into the Toad. Does it matter what kind of person you are? Does it matter who you are? If you are an outgoing, attractive, optimistic person, always meeting new people, going in and out of romantic relationships, getting married, continuing to focus your attention on meeting new people, cheating. Does it matter? Does it matter if you're an introvert and you're afraid of confrontation because experience has told you that you're going to suffer the more you interact with people? Does it matter? There's so many different types of person to be. Is there a correct type of person to be? How is this determined? This is the root of morality, the right and the wrong. But when you go into the Toad and you receive the perspective of this is what your death is going to be like, this intensity makes everything else insignificant. It's no longer possible to get wrapped up in the day-to-day when you know what's coming. Nothing has the allure anymore. Nothing has the pressure, the high stakes, the stress. It doesn't apply anymore. So you start to think, well, what really does matter then? If my position in society, my socioeconomic status, my success, if all of that is so fleeting and so superficial from where I now see things, then what actually matters? It's funny because none of it matters to me anymore, but I'm still fully engaged with it. It's a funny contradiction, and there's a lot of contradictions as we go down this road. You have to exist in this structured society, but you are no longer of it. In it, not of it, is a phrase Eric uses. You can't commit to it anymore. You don't believe it. You see the strings from the puppets. And it sounds a little bleak because that's what's driving everyone. You just look at the rush hour traffic. It's rush hour and everyone's so motivated and eager and aggressive and desperately seeking whatever. None of it holds water anymore because your death is going to be so intense and you cannot escape that intensity. You will be there for it. It's best to prepare. It is coming, and it is real. It is the only thing that's real once you feel it. Nothing else comes close. And that some of the health benefits come from this perspective. You can't get drawn into these little games, even the addictions, the pleasures of food and alcohol and drugs and sex, and they all take a back seat. Everything takes a back seat. So what does it matter? What does matter? Will you be remembered? No. 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 Well, maybe you build an empire. Maybe you have a huge family. You've brought 12 children into this world, and they've all brought children into this world, and there's this huge house and this huge network of properties and families and money and influence and business networks, and you built all of it in your lifetime. Will you be remembered? Well, it'll be a sad day at your funeral. Everyone will wear black. It will be somber and morose, and we'll cry, and we'll spend money on the posturing of faith, the casket, the cemetery plot, the reception, the food, the entertainment. It's just furthering this capitalism. It's furthering this society that you succeeded in. It's a furtherance of that. But you're not in it anymore. So it's really just for everybody else. And in that sense, you're remembered that day. And then that next day, the lawyers are signing paperwork and delivering paperwork, and assets are being transferred, and money's being wired, and the system continues. Are you being remembered, or are you being used? Even if you are remembered and loved, of course, you were good to people, and they remember you fondly. If you had children, you gave them so much guidance. You did your best. You probably would do some things differently, but you did your best, and you made an impact in their lives. You tried to show them what this life was about before they got pulled into this system that's going to have its own view of things. And maybe you did very well with that, and they are happy people. Maybe they're strong people, maybe they're successful people, but I mean, the only measuring stick is happiness. What else? What else can there possibly be in this life to rate yourself on? But if you were happy or not. I don't think there's anything else that matters, but you have fostered that happiness and that success. And now what? And now they're fostering it. But how much of an impact you had versus how much of an impact you thought you had might be different. You want to take credit for a lot of the positive things that are happening in the lives of the people that you were responsible for at one time. But at some point in your life, you had to stand up and say, this is the world I created. This is all me. This is my fault. You have to grow up. And doing that, you take ownership, which means you're not the person someone else created anymore. You are you. And what is you? What is that person? You're playing by the rules of a system that is soulless. It's a mechanism. You're doing the transactions required. You're navigating it to get what you want. You're investing some of yourself in doing that. How much effort it takes you to make the money to pay for the home and the food. You're making these calculations. You're deciding how much time you're spending with your loved ones versus how much time you're spending making money. These are all decisions you're making, and you're making them with some kind of gauge on what is right and wrong, what is good and bad. And when you go into the Toad, these things don't exist. And they won't exist when you die, which is coming. It's right next to you right now. So you still have to play by the rules, but now, with that perspective, you might be more inclined to protect your time and your happiness. You might give it more value. You might assign more value to how you feel than you did before. That might become the most valuable metric in your life. It certainly has for me. The allure of the stuff. There's some nice stuff to have. There's no doubt about that. But it is all stuff, and if you stare at it long enough in the right mindset, you will see it for what it is. So when you're coming at it from that new perspective, what is good? What is bad? What is right? What is wrong? These calculations, I think, are hardwired. There is a foundation in us that dictates the right and the wrong and the good and the bad. I think that is the foundation from where society starts and from where religions start. It doesn't matter who you are, and does it matter what you've done to become that? On the one hand, you've had to build your empire and generate your wealth. That might not matter. Because when the death comes, the same death is coming from you, for you, that is coming for the person sleeping on the sidewalk. It's the same death. I mean, there's an argument that their death might be a little easier. Because the more you've built, the more you'll hold on to. And there is no holding on. There will be none. There will be an attempt. There will be fear and panic and a grip. And in my experience, the tighter that grip, the more difficult that transition is going to be. And I don't know what it means, the complete transition to actually enter death and be completely removed from ever coming back to this body. I do not know. I want to know. I think about it all the time. I wonder how different it is from the deaths that I've experienced. I do know that the preparing for the deaths that I've experienced has given my life greater meaning and joy, and has given me the power and strength I didn't know was possible. The love that I'm capable of. And that's really where the power is. Don't be fooled into thinking there's anything else but love. Every time you sacrifice the love for the stuff, you're going in the wrong direction, and you're creating a more uncomfortable death. But if you were doing bad things, and not bad things in the sense that you're in your Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and you're talking about the guilt and the shame from the money you stole from your grandmother and the time you took advantage of that vulnerable person. Not that so much that you're ashamed of because now you have to admit those things out loud. It's that shame comes from you doing those things because you weren't supposed to. You knew you weren't supposed to because they told you you weren't supposed to. Those things, I don't think they are important at all. It's the things that you won't say, that you'll never say. You violated the sanctity of yourself. When you do those things, it does matter. Those things might not be remembered. They might not be documented in society. They might not be listed in the news article about your passing. But those things carry weight. Those things you will have to address. Those things will come back. Because this sense of self that is exposed by the toad is clearly defined. You know better right from wrong in this mindset than you ever have before, because there's no other voice in the discussion. There's nothing external about it. You're not thinking of the rules, the laws, the creeds. None of that is available to you when you come out of the medicine. The only thing that's available to you is you, what you really are. And in that there is clearly defined good and bad. There are things you should not do. That's your humanity. That's the thing that would allow humans to live in a different kind of society. If everyone was told that all the instructions they needed for life will come from within, and given an opportunity to go there, maybe with the medicine, maybe with silence, maybe just the notion that the elders in the group are saying, we know this is true. Welcome to this world. You are here for an undetermined amount of time, and you will be forgotten because you're on your way somewhere else, into the great mystery, into the light. And you need to prepare for that journey because it can come at any time. And it's the only thing that you're here to do, is to take that journey. In the meantime, you will commingle with your fellow humans in our little group, in our little society, where we prioritize this, this, and this. But we all understand that the only thing that truly matters is what's coming. Some Native American tribes had rites of passage for young men, getting to an age where they were developing into men at a time in their life when they needed to understand this in a new way. They've been told this their whole life, but now, like everything real, it can't be given in instructions. It has to be experienced. It has to be felt. So there would be a vision quest or ceremony, some of which are still practiced today by people I know, by my friends. Maybe you will be placed into a piece of ground in the wilderness that's roped off. You cannot leave that area except to move your bowels. Until the ceremony has ended. That's it. You will come down off that hill toward the drums, which have never stopped in the 4 days, 4 nights that you've been there. You survive the elements somehow, the cold, wet, the wind, the dark, the insects, the rodents, the predators, the sun, the heat. And you will return with a new perspective. You won't have to tell anybody what happened, and no one will ask you what happened. But you will now know right from wrong. Right from wrong for you. Which is the only right from wrong that will exist from that point moving forward. Our entire global civilization is based upon external rights and wrongs that have been developed to try to counter misbehavior to a certain extent. They've also been developed to implement control. I think most people in power would tell you it's the former. We got bad guys out here. We have to keep an eye out for them. We have to arrest them. We have to punish them. That's why you all have to follow all these rules I came up with. It's for your own benefit. But the rules are hardwired in our souls. We all know the rules. You may not want to admit it. You may not want to look at them. You may not want to look at yourself. And I don't blame you. There is nothing more difficult than looking at yourself. It is so impossible to do in our world. But it's so beneficial. Just when you get into the toad, you may see the light. And you're not using your eyes to see. It's a light that there's just no other word for it. It's not, light from the sun. It's much, 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 much brighter than that. The intensity of everything generates the light. It's the energy of life itself that is the source of this light. It is what is. And if you're fortunate enough and brave enough to take that step into the void and to encounter it, then you will know yourself. You will know right from wrong and good from bad. You've always known it, but you will see it. And you won't have to talk about it, and you won't have to ask any questions about it. You won't need any external opinions on it because it's you. But it's so difficult. The consequence of accepting that light is a pleasure and a joy that has no companion in our conscious world. Nothing. Nothing. All the drugs, I've done them all. Every one I could get my hands on anyway. A lot of them. I'm sure there's more, but I've done all the big ones. Everything I could find to find what was available. Not in some experimental thing, just because I was lost and confused and didn't know what the hell was going on, didn't know what I was. And nothing, even heroin, morphine, they don't compare to this pleasure. But you won't accept it. You won't be able to accept it. It's too scary. For you to accept it would mean you are perfect. It is perfect. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. You're just here. And you're waiting for your ship to arrive, for the big trip, when you go into the light forever. Not that there's a time or a place associated with it. Every concept you have in your mind will be broken by just glimpsing this light. There's no direction, there's no place, there's no source, there's no speed, there's no weight, there's no death. This death that we experience, that I experience, is all of my monkey brain hanging on, pretending that these external rules exist, that this society exists, that the right and wrong that I've been told about exists, that my job exists, that this marriage exists, that these children exist. These concepts are fabrications. All of them. The only thing that exists is the love. The love for your children. The love for your spouse. The love for your job. That's all real. That love will survive forever. There's a piece of you that survives this journey. That's what you're getting into. That's what you're accepting when you see that light. You will not be able to accept that. It breaks everything that you thought you were. That's who you are. That's what will be remembered, not in some kind of digital version or some kind of book in society. All that will crumble. This entire digital infrastructure, these cities, these nations, these armies, they're all crumbling right now. They're all fading away. If you just sit long enough, patient enough, you'll see it all playing out. It's all drying up. The lakes, the rivers. Everything's dying. Everything's transient. Nothing can be remembered. Remembered by what? By who? How many humans have lived on this planet? What do we know about them? We have so much energy going into history and archaeology and fossils and documentation and language. To get to what? What understanding do we have of humans? It's funny because the only it seems to be that the beginning of our understanding is ancient Greeks who talked about philosophy. That seems to have created this web of information. That's not that long ago. When you look at Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle, three connected humans that are also connected to Alexander the Great. There's four humans, and in their knowledge and life experience, how much of our classical information is found there, or directly connected to there? Four men? What were humans doing? What have they been doing? Does it matter? Does it matter what Aristotle was doing? Does it matter what you're doing? How long will Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, and Alexander the Great be remembered for? They're some of the most famous people. Been remembered for thousands of years. 2,000-ish. 2,000 years. Is that a long time to be remembered? What if they be remembered for 10,000 years? In what format will they be remembered 50,000 years from now? There is no remembering. That's why we don't know what anybody was doing this whole time that people have been alive. We're holding on to these last 2,000 years desperately, applying reason to it. And look what we've turned it into. Christianity is little more than a weapon today. It's all it does is hurt people, divide people. Because we're holding on to it. It's just fear. It's just fear. Fear is what you have when you go into the toad. Fear is the gateway. Fear is the solution. If you can face fear, then it might become something else. It might show you what it's hiding. It might let you accept that light. Maybe. That will be what you want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to accept the beauty and perfection of this life right now. Because it's right in front of me. The intensity that I can just lay down in this grass and just giggle and roll around and feel good and know nothing can ever be wrong. Ever. This is life. The cancer will be life. The car accident will be life. The rape. The funeral. When I'm burying that person who taught me everything and now they're gone. That's life too. It's still perfect. The emotional weight that we want to attach to things on whether they're good or bad because of what people told us about them being good or bad. Think of a child suffering trauma in the Western world today at a young age. Think of all the mechanisms instilled, implemented on that child for the rest of its life to keep that trauma fresh, to accommodate that trauma. All the permissions given because of the trauma. Because we can't handle trauma. It's too difficult. We're too fragile. We have to protect ourselves from the bad. We have to turn away from the fear. What if there is no good and bad? And what if the fear is the only indicator you have in your soul to give you direction and guidance? That's the only thing of value, is what you're afraid of. Nothing else counts. That's your beacon. That's your lighthouse. How much weight do we need to assign to these daily events when we know that it's all coming to an end and none of it's going to be remembered? How much weight do we really need to assign to these institutions to keep all of these traumas alive? Why? What is the point? Does it let us feel better? Does it let us pretend that we have control and that we can dictate that these things shouldn't happen? And there should be punishments if they do? Does that help? Who are these people creating all these traumas? What are they? Why are they so wrong? Why are they so bad? Can they be fixed? How do we punish them and fix them at the same time? Should we just chop off their heads? It's all been done. Every method has been employed. There's nothing that hasn't been done to bad people. You hear the phrase, Mussolini kept the trains running on time. Genghis Khan instilled peace across Asia. His envoys would just wander around without guards, carrying precious jewels, money, with a badge hanging around their neck that said they were doing the bidding of Genghis Khan. And if anybody interfered with them, there'd be hell to pay. And it was enough because he demonstrated what he would do. These weren't empty threats. Entire cities would be leveled. So he kept the peace. Did the bad guys go away? Did they become more clever and just become more entwined in these institutions and figure out a new way to be bad? Do we need a big bad guy to keep all the little bad guys at bay? All of this is being done because these societies don't acknowledge the inward journey. Everybody has to take it. That's true today. But you take it on your deathbed and your last breath. By yourself. Alone. Without any support, any context, any appreciation. Some societies celebrated death. Some societies celebrated sleeping. So much that the dreams were the reality. This land, this time of day, walking around out here in the sunshine, this was the dream. This was the illusion. What was really happening happened at night. Is that wrong? Is that bad? We go to great lengths to demonstrate how much we know, how much we can control, and how fearless we are. And none of those things are true. We are all afraid. All of us. And until we go into the toad, we don't know what we're afraid of. I know I didn't. Every decision in my life was dominated by fear. It was inspired by fear, by avoiding that which I was afraid of, making sure that didn't get any closer to me, that thing. That when I thought of it or when I saw it or when I was close to it, my heart raced and my body sweated and I could barely breathe. And going into the medicine, that's where you go. There's nowhere else to go. All the fear boils up, and you're right there. That's what is. You don't have anything else inside you. Literally nothing else. And then the fear just gets crushed. You get crushed. And you realize coming out, there doesn't need to be anything inside you. There's not supposed to be anything. You're supposed to be empty. The reality is you are empty. You're not carrying anything. You don't have to. Life is right now. Nothing else matters. My last time in the medicine, the fear was greater than ever. Even though I had this sense of progress and power and strength, and I was proud of myself, and I could see the beauty in the world, and I was happy, and I was loving, and I thought I had changed. And then here it came. It had been there all along, and I had never gotten anywhere. I didn't even start yet. Years and years of going into the medicine and coming out of the medicine. And here I am, just like it's the first day. It's the first time. And here's this fear. And there's no way out of it. It's pure insanity. Everything that you don't want to be real is real. You can't avoid it. You can't stop it. You can't slow it down. You cannot escape this weight of fear. And the weight gets heavier and heavier. And you know what's coming. You're not getting out of this one. You're not going to. This is too far. This is too much. And then you become immobilized. And it starts to crush you. And you can't move. And it's getting heavier. And you can't breathe. And there's nowhere to go. And it's all, you've been wrong this whole time. Everything's been wrong. And it's all ending. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you can't breathe. And that's it. And you're dead. Except it hasn't stopped. Now you're dead. Now you're in death. And it's still coming. So now everything you thought you knew was wrong. There is no release. There is no pleasure kingdom. There's just more death and more pain, and you're in it. And the weight increases and you still can't breathe, and you're dying inside your death. And it's over. Except it isn't. It's still happening. Now you're starting to sense and realize this is what is. This weight, this panic, this pain, this suffering, this unimaginable terror is what is. There isn't anything else. and you're dying again. And the weight has crushed you. You are flattened. And you can't even struggle anymore. And you die. But it's still there. And now it's been 1,000 years of sheer panic. And it's still coming. And you give up. You surrender. You give up. There is no point in holding on. There's no point in fighting. There's no point of even acknowledging that you're being crushed to death. There's no point in any of it. You surrender and you give up. And it keeps coming. It gets worse. It's heavier. The fear is now not a sense of something. It is the universe. It's the only thing that's ever existed, is your fear. And you've given up, and there's nowhere to give up to. It's too late. Everything you've done has been wrong. Every single thing that you know, every experience you've had, it's all been to suffer. And you try to give up again. And it increases and it gets worse and the weight is unbearable. You can't give up anymore. You can't surrender anymore. You can't die anymore because the death that you have right now is permanent. This is what death is. You thought you knew. You thought it was the light. You thought it was the joy. And it's laughing at you. All those things you thought you knew. And here you are. In hell. Yes, it turns out it was real. And the weight keeps coming. And the panic and the fear are like a flame, growing in intensity. And there's nowhere to give up. There isn't anything. You're not even here anymore. It's just fear. It's just hell. And you don't know how to give up anymore. There's no you to surrender anymore. You've died over and over and over. You've gone deeper and deeper and deeper into this hell. And now there's nothing to make sense of. You want to accept it. But how do you do that? How can you accept this? Accepting the light was one thing. That was difficult enough. Accepting this? Accepting hell? Forever? And you just stop. You just stop all of it. All the posturing, all the giving up, all of the I don't want this, all of the fear, all of the self-pity. You stop all of it. Nothing makes sense. There is nothing for you except fear and pain and misery and hell. And then it opens up. And you're standing on the mat. You can see the world. It's still here. You can feel the heat. You can see life. You can really see it in the ground, in the rocks, in the trees. They're all breathing. They're all celebrating. They're all here. And your body is trembling, but you're standing up. You have a body. You're alive. You breathe. Oh my God, the hell isn't real. That was just you thinking you knew, but you don't. And now the toad is laughing at you because you didn't think you could go through what you just went through. You didn't think you were going to make it. You really weren't going to make it this time. And now it's all brand new. It's all fresh. Today is the beginning. You are empty. There is nothing left of you except this emptiness. And inside this emptiness is the power of the universe. It's all you. It's all yours. And you know that you can survive that hell. You know now that you survive all of it. That this light and this love, this is what's left over. This is the emptiness. And then what just got crushed out of you was everything else. You weren't in hell. You were being removed from hell. The hell was being squeezed out of you by God. You can leap 20 feet into the air if you choose to right now. You can reach your arm into the earth up to the shoulder if you choose to right now. You can pull the bristlecone pine out of the ground with your bare hand. You can do all of it. You can do anything. There's no limits to you. You just saw limits, and they were all self-imposed. The toad has healed you from yourself. That was the cost. That was how deep you went with your bullshit. All the way down to the 7th layer of hell. That was all you. And the toad is laughing at you because you thought it was real. You thought there was no joy and love and light. You forgot what actually is. How could you forget it? It's right here. In this emptiness, it grows. In this emptiness, it exists. In this emptiness is you. It does matter who you are. This is what matters. This you. This empty, fresh out of hell you. It's the only thing that will ever exist for you ever again. Nothing else can rebuild that hell. Nothing else can touch you and your power anymore. You are healed. You have become what you were, what you have always been. It's the thing that does not need to be remembered. It's the thing that's always been here. It's the thing that's all around you all the time in this eternal moment. Eric is circling your prayer mat. He has a pine bough in his hand and he drops it on the fire and it explodes in flame. And all the hell gets sucked out into it. And he points down at your feet and he said, there is only this. Nothing else exists but this. And you look down at your trembling legs. And this powerful body, which is brand new. And you start to laugh. It's all magic, he says. We have lost sight of the magic. And it's all around us. And you see in the rocks and the dirt and the trees, you see through them. You see the power in them. You see where it's all coming from. It's all one pulsating thing. And it's coming out of the ground into your feet. You're attached to it. And all you do is breathe. And you never have to be in that hell again. That's into the toad. That's where we go. And this is what we get. When you see the beauty that we see, nothing can distract you again. It's all noise. You just see people struggling for power. You just see people who can't see it. You see them at rush hour. And you know there's nowhere to go. And it's okay. But it's here for all of us. It never goes away. You may have to go to hell. In fact, you will. But only to get back to where you started. Only to get back to what's yours. You let go of it and picked up all these other things. And you're not just holding them in your fist. They're sutured onto your soul. They never go away until they're ripped from you, until you're ripped from them, until you're crushed to death. over and over and over and over and over and over again. There will be nowhere else to surrender to. There will be nothing else to grab onto. Preparing for this death is why we're here. If there is a why. It's the only thing worthy of our time and effort. And the rewards are greater than the words we use to describe them. There is nothing else. There is only this. And you will not be remembered. But you will live on.